Hey, what's up guys? It's Cornelis back here for Koenig Kettlebell Sport. Today we are talking about the push press, a bit more timely fashion for this video than the last one, so I apologize for how long that last one took me. But we're definitely going to get them done a little quicker here. So today's the push press. It's the next step in learning how to do the jerk from the press, obviously. And so if you haven't watched the press video, definitely go back and watch that. It explains a few things about how to get the bell overhead correctly in the right positions on the right pathway. Today we're going to talk about how to use our legs to get those bells overhead. It'll help us get some heavier bells overhead, and it'll teach us some timing. It'll teach us how much force we need to launch the different weights of bells. So we'll get into all that. Let's get into the nitty gritty of it. Today's the push press. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with the one arm push press, and if you haven't watched the clean tutorial, go back and watch the clean tutorial to get the bell into the rack. Go watch the press tutorial to get the overhead position right, and then come back to this video and learn the push press. Having said that, we're going to start with the one arm push press, and what I would suggest when you're just starting out is use a no foot push press. So what I mean by that is don't launch onto your toes when you're first starting to learn how to push press. Just use your leg drive to get the bell overhead if it's a little too heavy for just straight pressing. So what I mean by don't launch onto your toes is that when we're normally doing a push press, what we're going to do is we're going to be here, right in the rack position. We're going to bend our knees once, we're going to launch onto our toes, and that's going to get the bells overhead. So there's going to be no duck under like we do for a jerk. So that's going to be what the push press motion looks like for a double push press. We're going to go through the single one right now, and like I said, we're going to show you how to do a no foot push press. Then I'll show you how to do a push press with feet, and then we'll show you the doubles. Okay? All right. Okay, so this is going to be a one arm, no foot push press. And this is a really great way to develop your leg drive too. So this is what it's going to look like. We're going to breathe in before we do our first dip. We're going to breathe out as we do our first dip. And then we're going to launch the bell with our leg drive, and we're going to press with our arm, and we're going to keep the blade of our palm forward all the way up. We're going to stay in line where we would for a jerk, and that's going to be our no foot single arm push press. Okay, so here we go. Big breath out at the top of the lift. We're going to take a breath in, and then breath out as we drop the bell. Remember, if you're not experienced, don't drop it too fast, but I'm going to drop mine down kind of quickly, okay? So it's going to be... So all that together is going to look like this. So, and I forgot to mention, we're breathing in as the bell's going up. So as we drive with our legs and push with our arm to lift the bell overhead, we're going to be breathing in. So it's in, right as we're in the rack, out as we do our short dip, in on the launch, out as we get to the top of the lift, in at the top of the lift, out as we drop the bell, okay? So we're going to put it all together again here, okay? We're just reiterating. So here we go. And now I've a bit on the other hand for our side view here, okay? Held that one, excuse me, held that one up over top a little bit longer. You can rest in the rack, you can rest overhead. It's always good to get used to both positions. So one more from the side view here. Okay, so that's the single arm push press. The breathing cycle for it. Oh, the single arm no foot push press, I should say. The breathing pattern for it, what it should look like from the front and from the side. So now we're going to move on to the single arm push press, just regular push press. We're gonna launch onto our toes for this one, okay? So, same breathing pattern and everything. You're just gonna launch onto your toes because that's gonna get the bell that much higher for you, right? So that you have to do that press out a shorter distance. So with the toes, obviously you're gonna be able, with launching onto your toes, I should say, you're obviously gonna be able to get the bell a bit higher before you have to press it the rest of the way, right? So, same breathing pattern and everything. All we're gonna do is we're gonna drive not just on our legs, we're gonna drive right onto our toes to get the bell overhead, right? So it's gonna look like this. Notice I don't duck under it, right? I don't do that second knee bend like when you see guys doing the jerk. This is one single knee bend only, right? So it's and again, for our side viewers on the right hand here now. Both types of single arm push pressing. You've noticed probably that they launch pretty easily up overhead for me, right? Because they're single arm, they're relatively lightweight, and I don't generally need my legs to get a 16 kg overhead. But when I do use my legs, one good thing it teaches me is something called error sensitivity. So it teaches me how much I need to use my legs per the weight, right? So for the different weights, how much do I need to use my legs? How much do I need to use my arm to get that weight overhead, right? And you start learning that, and that's what you really need for the jerk, is to learn precisely how much you need to bend your knees down, to launch it up high enough, to duck under high enough, to stand up with the weights. That's what you need to learn, that error sensitivity, just that finite amount so that you can keep going for 10 minutes, right? So this is a great way to learn that. And it's a great way to learn body control because eventually, once you do enough jerks, it's kind of hard to do a push press. I actually find the push press more challenging than the jerk because you do so many jerks and you don't do that many push presses, right? So it teaches you that body control to be able to know, okay, I need to put this much force with my legs to do a push press, but I need this much force with my legs to do a jerk, right? So it starts teaching you that error sensitivity, and that's a term I'm probably going to use a lot in these next videos because it's really important in kettlebell sport, especially over so many repetitions for something like jerk or snatch, right? Because you have so many opportunities to make errors, and the lesser amount of errors you make will give you a better result in the end, right? So, having said that, let's move on to some doubles, okay? So the doubles push press with no feet and with feet is essentially the same as the single push press, but of course you don't have that other arm to kind of propel you, and it's obviously double the weight. So it's going to be more difficult, but once you don't feel challenged by a single push press with the weights you have at home or at the gym, obviously you're going to start moving to doubles. I suggest starting at least 4 kilos lower for your doubles than you do for your singles. If not less, pick them up, see how they feel. Don't hurt yourself, right? Okay, so we're going to move on to doubles now. Okay, so we're going to clean under our chest, and we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're just going to stay in our rack position, and it's just with two. So here's what they look like with two. This is going to be a no foot, two-handed push press. And now for a double push press with the launch onto the toes. So essentially, that's all there is to push pressing. Now I do want to get into one specific detail about push pressing, and that's how deep should our first dip be. And a lot of different people have differing opinions on breathing. They have different opinions on the second dip. They have different opinions on the rack. One thing stays the same when you talk to every good lifter in kettlebell sport. The first dip should be quick and it should be shallow. So that's why when we take our breath in the rack and we do that quick breath out, it's to keep that first dip short, okay? So when we go, that's to keep the first dip short and to change directions as quickly as you can. Because the angle of your calf here, that's what determines how much energy you're using in your legs to launch the bells, right? So what I mean by that is that the greater angle you come to when you're launching the bells, the more disadvantageous the position you are in is, right? So what you want to do is keep the angle of your calf in your first dip very slight. So just a, right? You don't want to go, or, right? You don't want to go real deep and have to jump and launch and catch it, right? What you want to do is just a quick, short, okay? And it's going to take a while to learn that at first, but believe me, once you learn it, and once you learn how to just pop those bells off of your chest with that quick first dip, everything really starts to come into place. So, the last thing, very last thing I want to talk about, I forgot to talk about in the press video, is hand position when you're overhead. So you got a couple of options here. Personally, when I'm doing jerk, I'll leave my hand open like this, because closing my fingers that many times makes my hand sore. But when I'm doing long cycle, I tuck my fingers in behind the handle when I'm overhead, because it provides more stability. It makes the bell less likely to shake and wobble when I'm at the top of the lift, right? Because I got my fingers there. It's extra surface area of the handle covered to keep it from rotating. But when I'm doing higher repetitions like jerk or snatch, I keep my hand open just to keep that relaxed grip to save my forearms. Okay guys, that was the push press. Next week's gonna be the jerk. And then the following week after that, we're gonna put it all together for a long cycle. And then after that one, we're gonna move on to the snatch. And then from there, I think I'm gonna get into like various styles of lifts, various accessory lifts. I've covered a few accessory lifts, but I wanna get into some more accessory lifts. And anything else you wanna see, let me know. If you wanna see some more training videos, you wanna see more stuff in a gym. Unfortunately, right now, that's not an option. I was really hoping to be in a gym by the end of April, but it's probably going to be May now, so we're doing it all on here. But I think a lot of you are working out at home right now, so that's pretty cool. So, having said that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, have a good one, guys. Take it easy.